Hello and welcome, weary travellers. I'm Andy, and this is the D&D Book Tag. Hello, so this is a book tag that's been created by Smash over at Ashley's Bookish Life and Jem at Jem's Creeps and Geeks. I don't know why I tripped over that. That was probably one of the easiest things I've had to say today. And yeah, I know nothing about D&D. Smash has tagged me in this and I'm very excited because I do know a thing or two about books. And so the D&D book tag has been put together by Smash and Jem to kind of bring their two loves together of D&D and books. Ignore the taping that is going on over here. I have injured my shoulder and can we say it was something cool? Can we say it was like fighting some kind of beast for like the D&D theme? Because otherwise it's just kind of a little bit lame that it just sort of fell out. Anywho, I am going to get on. I've got a bunch of recommendations or things to go with the prompts. I've not done a tag in so long that I'm actually struggling to remember what everything's called. But I've got some prompts. I've got some books. I'm just going to get on with it before you have to listen to my nonsense waffle. Prompt number 1 is Everybody's Dead. Give us a character with a tragic backstory. For this, Tori will be very happy and will also back me up. I've gone for Yelena from Poison Study. Yelena, by the time she gets to this book, has had so many horrible things happen to her. I don't know how I would cope if I was Yelena. She's been, like, abused in so many different ways. It's unreal. I don't want to give too many spoilers because some of this you only find out later on in the book and later on in other books. And yeah, I don't want to spoil like everything. But basically, Yelena is taken from the prison. She's in prison because she killed someone. And frankly, he deserved it. And I would have done no differently. But she's in prison and she's taken from the prison as the next person to die, as the general's food taster has died, and so she's given the option of death or to be the next food taster. And so she takes the job and has to go through her poison study, which is where Valak, who is the kind of right hand to the general, teaches her how to recognise different poisons and how she can taste it in food and things like that, so that she, doesn't necessarily have to die. If she's a good poison taster, if she's a good food taster, she won't die. And then, the world expands from there as it does. This is so underrated, I'll tell you. But yeah, very tragic backstory. Not for the faint of heart. The next is Pepper from A Closed and Common Orbit. Pepper is a character that we're introduced to in the first one, which is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. And this book tells you Pepper's backstory along with this sort of, so it goes between Pepper and another character you meet in the first one now, and then Pepper's backstory. And again, Pepper's backstory is horrific. Pepper was born on a colony where they cloned slaves. So like they would clone these children and then use them as labour, as like slave labour. And obviously Pepper was one of these kids, otherwise why would I be telling you that? So it tells you about how Pepper got from being a child slave to being where she is now, which is the owner of a business with a partner and frankly a fairly good life. And yeah, so Pepper's backstory is really heartbreaking, but at times Pepper also really annoyed me. So there's that. Take that with a pinch of salt. Okay, I'll leave. Role number 2 is Role Persuasion, an autobi author. So I've just pulled a couple of autobi authors off of my shelf. So of course we all know that Lindsay Sands is an autobi author for me. The minute her next book in this series becomes available, I order it. Usually they come out in September and April, so I always have like one every 6 months to keep me going, which is fantastic because I read these books like that. But yeah, anything Lindsay Sands writes in this world, I will read. I've not read her other works, but this is a 30-odd book series. It keeps me going. Another one you'll all recognise on here is Emily Henry. Emily Henry is most definitely an autobi author to the point where I now get the special editions of her hardback books instead of just the paperbacks to go with my collection because I need her stories like immediately. So yeah, if Emily Henry writes it, I will read it no matter how much pain it causes me. Same goes for Patricia Cornwell. I read her Scarpetta series and will buy the books immediately, like pre-order the minute they're out. or the minute they're out for pre-order. All of her books are on the very, very top of my shelf, so I'm not climbing up to get that. But, you know, she writes the Scarpetta series, which follows Kay Scarpetta, who is a medical examiner. I was going to say coroner, but that's totally different. She is a medical examiner in Virginia. We follow her through different places she works and lives in America, when she goes to Europe. It is basically just about Kay Scarpetta and her work, and I love it. Patricia Cornwell herself is a forensic scientist, so she knows the work, and it's so, so accurate. She is just one of my favourite authors for her writing. And then the last one I'm going to show you, which is one of my favourite authors, again, autobi author, and this book is actually one of my prized possessions, and that is Kate Moss. Kate Moss is a historical fiction writer. She is one of the founders of the Women's Prize for Fiction, and this book is one of my absolute prized possessions. So not only is it the most gorgeous cover, like, can we just appreciate it? I know this is not the point, but I never tire of showing this book. We've also got some maps on the end pages, and it's signed, and it's double signed and personalised because I met her. And yeah, so if Kate writes it, I will read it, basically. Prompt number 3 is "Me and the boys are gonna mess you up." I can't not sing it. I can't not sing it. And this is an ensemble cast that you love. And for that, I've chosen The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This is such a good book. It basically is like confined to the ship. Like, you're on the Wayfarer, the ship, with the crew, and they're literally going the long way round to get to this planet. So they're on the ship for ages with just each other, and so you get to know them quite deeply. This is a book where pretty much there are things that happen, but pretty much nothing happens. It is mainly just about exploring these characters, and you do that through the lens of introducing Rosemary, who's a brand new character and brand new crewmate on the ship, and she has to learn about these other people that she's sharing the ship with. These other like different species and everything like that is so, so good. And I just love the crew of the Wayfarer. And also, you didn't think we were going to get away from a video without mentioning this book at least once, and that is Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I love every one of my babies in this. I love all of them. I will fight you for these characters. I absolutely adore them all. If you've not read Heartstopper or seen the show, where have you been? This is one of my favourite series ever. I am relentlessly mocked by my friends because I was like, I don't think I like Heartstopper. Yeah, I think this speaks for itself. But this follows Nick and Charlie, and they are friends at school, and they're just all the best, and I love them all, and I just want to take care of them all because they're my children. Prompt 4, I rolled a 1, which is the follow-up to the first bit of the song, you know what I mean. And this is a character that tries their best but keeps failing. And for this, I've chosen a couple of books that are very similar. So we've got Finlay Donovan is Killing It and Dial E for Aunties. In Finlay Donovan, she is talking to her she's a writer, and she's talking to like her manager or somebody, and she's overheard talking about how to kill a character. Someone thinks she's a hit woman and decides to hire her to kill her husband, and she's like, I'm not going to do it, but I want to go meet this guy. And she accidentally kills him, and things just go, it's like a comedy of errors from there. Like, if it could go wrong, it does go wrong, but somehow it always works out. And it is an absolute comedy of errors. Like, it is totally unbelievable. It would not work in the real world, but it's so funny. Similar story to Dial A for Aunties. Our main character accidentally kills her blind date, and her aunties help her hide it. But at the same time, things go horrendously wrong at every corner. Like, they're nearly caught so many times. Like, again, total comedy of errors. Such a funny story. Light-hearted, funny, but just like would not happen in the real world. And then, of course, one of my favourite characters that is constantly trying to get himself yeeted off not this planet but another planet, and that is The Martian by Andy Weir. Mark Watney, how Mark Watney is alive, like, this man is the definition of this is held together with duct tape, because he's like, I've got this great idea, and then the next chapter starts and it's like, so I almost died. Like, he does a lot right, but he does a lot wrong. And he's just a little bit like hectic. If you've not read The Martian, please read The Martian. I'm gonna plug The Martian as much as I can because I love The Martian. And Andy Weir writes such a funny character in Mark Watney, but again, like the things he does, like the way he messes up is just so beautiful. Number 5 is Roll to Tame the Floof, a book with a dangerous creature you'd love to have as a pet. Now, I can't have this on my shelves and not use it for this prompt. I'm going to use Fourth Wing because dragons, sentient dragons, and it wouldn't necessarily be a pet, but like animal companion. If you've read Fourth Wing, you know that the dragons in this are sassy as hell and just comedy beautiful. I love the dragons in this. I'm sorry, this is totally messing with the light, it's so shiny. The dragons in this are just perfect. No notes. Excellent. 10 out of 10. Would absolutely have as a pet, companion, boss. Don't care. Give me the dragons. Give me the dragons. Also, The Age of the Five by Trudy Canavan. The main character in this gets a pet from an emissary because she's a leader. She ends up as a leader of this world, and they get this country. They get gifts from an emissary of these pets, and they're like, imagine like a ferret, but it's also sentient and can like speak out loud and in your mind, and all it wants is like food and comfort. And it's like talking to a toddler, but a toddler that can do magic and can like squeeze into random spaces. They are just the cutest things, and they're so cool and they're so smart, and they're just want to squish them so much. Sorry, a little bit of cuteness aggression there. And the third one I'm going to use for this is, of course, Blackjack from Percy Jackson. I mean, a Pegasus, all the Pegasi are pretty damn cool in Percy Jackson, but Blackjack we love Blackjack. I just love Blackjack. Blackjack is a one-of-a-kind black Pegasus, and he is just so funny. Like, I love him with all my heart. He's one of my favourite characters in the entire Percy Jackson world. Number 6 is DM Rolls Unexpectedly, a book that surprised you. For this, I've pulled again The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. This is the first sci-fi book that I have read and loved. Every other sci-fi I've read before this, I was not a fan of. But there's something about this type of sci-fi that just is absolutely, like, it is my jam. And Vicky is getting really, really good at, she's actually not even getting really good, she's just always been really good at recommending me sci-fi. I think it was Vicky that was like, you need to read this, you're going to love it. And then every sci-fi she's given me afterwards, I've also really enjoyed. But this just holds a special place in my heart because I was so scared of reading this because I did not think I was going to like it. And my God, I adore Becky Chambers' world that she's created, or universe that she's created in these books. On that same vein, and something else I've already mentioned, we're going to put Heartstopper up again because, as I said before, I'm mocked relentlessly by my friends because I was absolutely 100% determined, like really, really, really determined that I was not going to like Heartstopper. I even stood and read up to like page 36 in this. I think it was up to page, I think it was like before, I don't know. I read like a fair bit of it in the shop and I was like, yeah, I'm just not getting anything from this. And now, like, I have the special editions, or the Waterstones, like, special editions. I have a tattoo. I have, like, a shrine over here to Heartstopper. Like, I've got stickers. I've got this lanyard. My friend Vicky, just sick. Vicky, again, got me this for Christmas because of how much I love Heartstopper. And I thought I was going to hate it. Just going to put that there for now. I need to get it back up on the wall in a second. Prompt 7 is, I would like to rage, a character with anger issues. First one for that I've chosen is Who's Afraid by Maria Lewis. Now, Tommy Grayson does have anger issues, but like at the same time, they're also kind of understandable anger issues because 1, she's Scottish, 2, she's a werewolf. That kind of combination, just like, but yeah, she definitely has some anger issues in there. The second one I'm going to show you for this is Chain of Gold, and you're going to have to hear me out. In my opinion, Matthew has some serious anger issues. There's other issues on top of that, but one of the issues he has, I think, is just anger issues. Like, Matthew is not chill. Matthew is very much like, I think, like, Matthew would benefit very much from therapy. If you've read it, you know what I mean. Like, I think you would agree with me that Matthew definitely has some anger issues. Prompt number 8 is Hip Thrust for Seduction, a spicy book. Again, I've got like 3 here to show you. The first is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This is a series of 5 books. There's also 5 books before this with different characters, and these books are spicy. Like, they just get, I swear, they just get more spicy as you read them. And yeah, I love these books so much, but like, if you're not up for a spicy book that also has a lot of like dark, deep feelings, don't read these books, because these are not for you. But definitely like a high rating on the spice factor. And then there's Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I was unsure how I was going to feel about this, but I ended up loving it. And Hannah Grace does not pull any punches with the spiciness, I tell you that much. But it's also like severely enthusiastic consent. Like, extra spicy with severely enthusiastic consent required. How could I not love that? And then another ice hockey one. I'm loving the ice hockey spicy romances, let's just face it. And that is Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. This has just actually been picked up by a publisher, so the third one is not going to come out in these indie covers. And I'm very, very sad. They're going to redo the first 2 as well. So I don't know if I'll replace them or get 2 copies or just keep going with it. Anyway, that's beyond the point. I am just rambling now. But yeah, again, spicy. And again, very enthusiastic consent. A lot of these romances, a lot of the spicy romances that I've been reading, the ones I like, the ones you'll hear me talk about, always have really enthusiastic consent, and always have like, they're getting like, these are the kind of things that publishers years ago would not have published or would put into like erotica. But yeah, characters are great, spice is great. I love these characters so much. Number 9 is How Do You Want to Do This? A book with a satisfying ending. These may require a little bit more explanation, but also like trying not to spoil, so bear with. The first is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. The character in this book goes through like so much. He wakes up on the spaceship headed to this other star, and he has no memory of how he got there. Like, he knows roughly what's going on. Like, he understands that he's somehow meant to be there, but he doesn't understand what's going on. And the other 2 crew members are dead. And so he's like, I need to figure this out. And he is kind of working through the problem as he's getting his memories back. And you get to see the memories at the same time as he gets them. So you're kind of working through this with him. And the ending of this book, I just for me, it is such a satisfying ending. Like, do you know when you just want your character to have like a happily ever after, but it's like, it seems like it's impossible, and then they get a happily ever after? It's like that. Like, I love this. I was so scared at the end of this book, but it just warmed my little heart. The next is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, but kind of more specifically this as well, like this version. So the satisfying ending that I thought of for like the main event is just the end, like the ending that they have with the election, and the way that they're obviously like you've got the tension of the election, and then the relief when they win it, and then the way that they're able to be together publicly. It's just like, it's like a release of tension. It's so satisfying. But then we have an extra bit at the end of this, which again is like such a satisfying ending, because I love that little epilogue where you get to see them later on and see them together and see them happy, and just I love it so much. If you've read the extra bit in this, you'll know what I mean. If not, I believe it's available. I want to say it's available online somewhere. But yeah, just such a satisfying ending for 2 characters that I absolutely adore. And then the last one is one that some people might not agree with me on, because this is quite a divisive book, which surprised me. And that is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I absolutely adored this book. This book got to me at the exact point that I needed it to get to me. And a lot of people see it as being quite heavy-handed and very obvious. Like, it's very obvious where this is going to go. In the end, you know how it's going to end. But for me, that journey really affected me and affected how I felt, like emotionally, affected my mental health in a very positive way. And just the ending that we got at the end of this book, just for me, it was very satisfying. Like, it wrapped up very nicely, and it made me feel hopeful. And that was something that I desperately needed at the point in time when I read this book. So for me, it was an absolute smash, but I know a lot of people feel it's like loading it on with a shovel. Like, it really, really does. But for me, it's one of my favourite books of all time. And part of that is to do with the fact that the ending for me is just, it's just perfect. Last prompt, number 10, gather your party, tag 3 friends. So I've looked to see who Gem and who Smash have tagged, and tried to think about people who are filming currently and would actually possibly like to do the tag. So the 3 people I have tagged are Katy from Sitting Katy, Meg from 12 Books a Day, and Katy from Poppy K. Whether you want to do it or not, that is totally up to you, but I've tried to choose the people I think would be, like, quite excited to do this tag. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this tag. Let me know what you think of any of the books that I've read. If you think there are books that I could have used, like, you're probably screaming at me for some of the books that are behind me. But yeah, let me know. And if you want to leave me an emoji down in the comments, if there's some kind of, like, dice emoji, leave a dice emoji, or something to do with D&D, like the little, like wizard thing, or I don't know much about D&D, so frankly you can do what you like, and I'll just be like, cool, that sounds like, you know, something related to D&D, because I know nothing about D&D. Yeah, so thanks very much for watching. Thank you so much again to Smash and to Gem for making this tag, and for Smash for tagging me in this, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.